Hello. Wow, okay, this is scary. Or at 9:39 in the morning. Yes, I think in a previous avatar, I was a school teacher about 10 years back in a low-income school in Malwani, which is towards the north of Bombay. And I think when at occasions like this, that seems scary to me. I tell myself that I've done a job that is much, much, much tougher than moderating a panel discussion and try to get through it. I'll quickly, I think, introduce my co-panelists. Dr. Radhika Misquitta is the co-principal of Gateway School of Bombay, holds a PhD from the University of Texas at Austin. She is instrumental in developing and implementing the school's innovative curriculum and educational theory. Dr. Misquitta actively leads ongoing professional development for faculty and promotes evidence-based practices to support children with special needs. Her work reflects a commitment to inclusive education and the holistic growth of students and educators alike. Thank you, Radhika, for being here. Sudha is a psychologist and computer science engineer, a creator of ASD Buddy, which all of you all should definitely check out, an autism education and upskilling app for professionals and parents. She is an RDI autism parent herself. Sudha's journey in helping other families get started with started when parents approached her for help with their child's autism upon seeing dynamism in her own child. She hence studied psychology and education at the master's level to be able to present the idea of naturalistic developmental behavioral intervention, NDBI, in a simple and understandable manner to all parents and professionals through more than 150 video demos and parent meets on our app. Today, ASDBD has 600 plus users across several geographies and more than 65 hours of content. It is recommended by doctors as a first step to learning from handheld devices. She sees the future of autism remediation through autism education as envisioned by WHO. Thank you, Sudha, for being here. We also have Gopika, who's an entrepreneur, counselor, neurodiversity consultant, author, parent advocate, and TEDx speaker. So she hopefully makes my job a little easy. Gopika has worked with autism intervention, with the autism intervention team at Ummeed. At Ummeed Child Development Center for 10 years as a therapist and trainer. She's an author of Beyond the Blue, Love, Life and Autism, India's first book by a parent of a child with autism. Gopika has co-founded Buddy Up, a friendship app for people with disabilities and their caregivers. And I'm hoping she has a lot of interesting stories to share from that context. She has also trained in narrative therapy and practices with parents and caregivers of neurodivergent individuals, as well as adults with autism. Gopika is a consultant with Rangam Consultants, Sangat and Connects Learn. And Gopika lives in Bombay with her family. Thank you all of you all for making time to do this. We have sort of three perspectives on the stage. The school perspective with Dr. Radhika, the parent and professionals perspective with Sudha, and the individuals and persons with disabilities perspective with Gopika. So I'm hoping that's sort of the, you get to hear about inclusion and technology from these three sort of views. But I wanted to start off the panel discussion with waking y'all up a little bit and asking y'all a question. And so one of the questions I thought about was, what is like one favorite technology that you use every day? And would a person with special needs be able to use that? If we could have like about 5-6 different responses from people. I'm just repeating myself. What is a favorite technology that you use every day? And would a person with special needs be able to use it? Sorry, yeah. WhatsApp is a good example. And would a person with special needs be able to use it? Yes. Any challenges they would face?
Yeah. Ma'am,
Yeah, if you could raise hand, we have a couple of mics going around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides WhatsApp, yeah. Any other?
Dictaphones.
Sorry?
Dictaphones.
Dictaphones, very nice. And would a person with special needs be able to use it, you
Yes.
think? All right, thank you. Dictaphones is a good example. We'll take a couple of more. Yeah, one hand there.
Canva for worksheets and all.
Canva for worksheets.
Customized worksheets.
Very nice. And would a person with special needs be able to use it, you think?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We have one hand there and someone in the front as well. Yeah.
We use Kahoot.
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
We use Kahoot for the children.
Sorry, could you say that again? What for children?
Kahoot.
Kahoot.
Na?
Kahoot for children.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, got it.
Kahoot is a good one. We use it for our children for the quizzes and other things.
Got it. Thank you very much. And one, I think, response here.
Special needs students can use our phones with accessibility features. They can use computers with accessibility features. There's so many things that are available now. We just need to learn about them and how they're used.
Yes, thank you very much. I think just phones and computers, if you turn on accessibility features really well. Thank you very much.
I would love to say Avaz app is the most common.
Got it. Thank you very much. I think we'll go to the panelists and come back to the audience. Don't worry. I will not forget you. We'll start with Sudha and Gopika. If you could briefly describe the tech solutions you have developed, what they enable, and share one strong example of where you've seen your tech being used really well.
Hello. Okay. As you have heard in the intro, I heard the word autism, and that's how I came into the space, into being here. And when my first elder son had the diagnosis of autism, I went to therapies with him, and because of tech, I had more research papers to read, and I could see and match whether what I was expecting and what was possible, is it getting delivered on the ground for him to be able to achieve what he can possibly achieve. And that knowledge came from tech. So when I saw that there was a disconnect, I realized that it was not that the therapist was not working, but it was that she was working with everything she knew, but she needed to know a little more about autism specifically, and that is a knowledge she didn't have. So then I realized we have to match the research and practice. And so because it was not available to me, I went to a psychiatrist in the US who had trained one or two of people in India, and through them we got trained in something called the relationship-based model for remediating autism. Why relationship-based model? Because autism primarily is a social communication difficulty. It is not anything else. It is primarily a social communication difficulty with repetitive nature attached to it. So I realized unless I address that, growth is not going to happen. And that I wanted to address. And the relationship model gave me a chance to address it. And when my son started doing very well, obviously the people around started asking. And I realized without having a proper degree in it, I shouldn't be teaching. So I went ahead and did a double MA in education and psychology, and then I realized that I'm able to address only 10 parents in a year, and it is 1 in 36 today, the number of autistic children, and I needed a platform where this knowledge can be placed, and people can consume however they can. Okay, so in COVID, myself, my husband, and children, we shot videos on how to practically do it. And we encouraged parents to try, because even if you give 40 hours of therapy in a week, unless it is a lifestyle, it is not going to change. So parents had to be onboarded. And the best way to do it was through the phone because it is private, it is on demand, and they can use it even when they are traveling. And it's pretty much a lot of knowledge. And when they see the practical demo, after they have seen, when they try it through the courses, we also have a feature in the app where once in 15 days, they can come, they can put up the video, what they have done for the week, and we give feedback. And if they want, there is free, where you don't want to reveal yourself, you're just learning. There is a nominally charged one where you come in once in 15 days, we see what you have done and we give you a feedback. And there is a premium version also where we hand hold you the whole stretch. One of the success stories, it is cost effective. And I, about a decade ago, paid 25,000 rupees per month just to learn it. That is not affordable by all. Since I had lived abroad, I had the money to be able to do it. And one of the reasons we did the app is to make it affordable. And we are very particular it be affordable, but I need to pay my employees too. So one story I would like to mention is a client of a learner from ours from Dubai. She had an elder child and she didn't have much support from the husband. Husband said, I will support you monetarily, but I'm not getting into the process of remediating autism. So she had knocked on many doors and the regular doors, and she said, there's something missing. I want to talk to you. And today she's with us for 9 months, from a child who would not allow anybody in a radius of 2 meters and who would pinch and push. Today I can play ball with him in the play area and I can play anything with him. It took 9 months to educate the mother and to also help her understand. She's in our once in 15 days program. So, and the New Year messages we get from them are the best. So it took us 9 months. You have to stay the course to learn the social communication difficulty and how to grow it in the child. We have tried to give a structure to it in the app, but any questions, you can always reach out to us and we can help you how to get in, how to access, where to begin and all of that. This is our work, and the app also has a feature where you can track your work. We allow you to keep the video in your own YouTube channel as private, but put the link in there so that after 9 months, when you look back at your own link, you know how much work you've done. And tech gives you that possibility to go back and see. And very often when I'm working with my clients, I see that I put videos which I shot 12, 13 years ago with my son. And I say, this is what it was, and this is what it is today. It is possible. And through this tech, I also intend that I spread more positive stories about autism because they are not coming out. When a parent gets a diagnosis, the first thing they do is go to social media, and it is giving them a lot of negativity. So one of the wishes I have, I know, Swapneel, that's your last question, but one of the wishes I have for the community itself is that when we give a diagnosis of autism, do attach some good stories with it, so that the stories they hear, it makes or breaks the parent. So we can probably attach some good stories and motivate them. So that will be way ahead. So we give theory to practice in the app. We give cost-efficient solutions. You can learn it from anywhere and you can track your work. And we do have users across geographies. In fact, when we went online, the first person who logged in was from Africa, and we were just not expecting it. So that is a good thing. I'm just giving.
Thank you. Gopika, I think same question. Can you briefly describe... Thank you. Can you briefly describe the tech solution that you built, what it enabled, one really strong story?
Okay, sure. So Buddy App Network is a friendship app for people with disabilities and their caregivers. We cover people with all disabilities of all ages. It is currently available only in India, but we hope that the year ahead takes us international because we've got inquiries from all over the world. And it is available in English and Hindi on Android and iPhone, and it is free for download. This app started because my partner Monisha, who is currently walking on a beach in Goa, 55 kilometers, and I were referred to each other by Dr. Vibha Krishnamurthy, who runs Umeed. She is the developmental pediatrician of my son Veer, who is currently 20 and is autistic, and Monisha's son, who is also 20 and who has Down syndrome. And Vibha told us, she said, you know, you should get the boys to meet, they become friends. Despite living 6 kilometers away from each other, we took a year and a half to meet. And when the boys met, it was literally magic. It was like they were long-lost twins who had discovered each other. And since then, they've been friends. They are out most weekends. They're about 20-year-olds. In fact, I was just sharing with Radhika, who used to teach Veer, that he came home at 12:30 last night and I had to stay awake for him. And he was out partying with his friends without telling me. I had to call him up and say, where are you? To imagine this for an autistic child who used to be so reserved, used to not make eye contact, who did not have one friend, is like living the dream for me. I could never have imagined this. And thank you. And so we thought that we have a Vibha in our lives. We have somebody who can connect us. We live in Mumbai, where there are so many more people. But what about other people who live in smaller towns and cities in India, who live in tier 2 cities where there may not be so much awareness? And so we said we should do something about it, so that other people can find friends. Because really, finding friends is therapy. We focus on occupational therapy, we focus on speech, we focus on remedial education, but really the social aspect is something which we just forget about. And so that's how the idea of Buddy Up Network was born. It is an app where you can connect. Like I said, it's for people with disabilities as well as their caregivers. So you have to be 18 plus to sign on. If a caregiver has a child who is over 18 but they feel they are vulnerable, they can sign on and operate the account or the app on their behalf. It has to be operated by a responsible adult. We also have a whole bunch of safety features that we've taken into consideration. So we ask for a mobile phone and send you an OTP so that there are no fake accounts. Once you make your profile, you just fill in information about yourself or your child. There are 2 streams actually, the caregiver stream and the self-user stream. You're asked for basic information, you create a username, you're asked for the primary disability, the interests, and then suggested profiles are thrown up. The algorithm throws up suggested profiles based on age and location. So you can go through these suggested profiles. You can also search, and the search criteria lets you search on age and age range. It lets you search on distance from you, interests, disability, and gender. And again, like I said, you can sift out whether you're a caregiver, you will only get caregiver profiles shown to you, or if you're a self-user, you only get self-user profiles. Once you kind of search and find somebody who you want to buddy up with, you can send them a friend request. People will also send you friend requests, and then you accept or you decline. And once you've made a buddy, you can chat in the app. You do not have to move to WhatsApp. You do not have to reveal your phone number. You do not have to give them your any personal details. You can just stay on the app. Then we said, okay, people said there are so many people out there who pretend to be who they are not. So we said, okay, we need to do something to further ensure our user safety. So we've enabled a 1-minute video call. So you can, once you've chatted for a bit, you can video call the person so that you just make sure that they are who they say they are. Even then, if you feel that the person is annoying you, they're sending you inappropriate comments or images or whatever it is, you can block them as well as report them to us with screenshots, and we will then take action against the user. So this is Buddy Up in essence. Like I said, it's free to download. And what stories, I've got a couple of stories. One is that there is a non-speaking autistic girl in Bangalore. Her name is Aditi Soumyanarayan. A lot of you may have known of her. She's an award-winning writer. And Aditi found another girl who's in her neighborhood and they've been chatting, which is a great thing. A couple of months ago, I was in Gurgaon and I was doing a session at a therapy center. And I had parents and I was helping them with the sign-in process. And as they've signed in and made their profiles and they got suggested profiles, they looked to the other parent who they must have met, just said hi, bye to, and, in passing. And they said, "Arey, aap bhi sector 54 mein rehte hain, hum bhi sector 54 mein rehte hain. Acha, we'll do a play date with the kids." And that was like watching it happen live. And it was truly, truly magical for me. We're getting stories every day coming in. We're just 3 months old, actually. The figures that I saw this morning was 2,084 active users. Thank you. Maximum users are visually impaired, followed by autism, followed by physical disabilities. We have about 50% caregivers, 50% self-users, and we are just hoping that this app grows. Our plans in the future are to, one, take it international. And the second thing, I know Dr. Koili Sen Gupta was here to talk about, did a workshop on sexuality. Both of us used to work together to we created the curriculum for that workshop. And parents would say, "Oh my God, sexuality, but why not?" So our next aim is a dating app. We are going to be launching that this year. We definitely think our young people need to be able to, why not? Why can't they date? And so that's really what our future plans are. And we just hope that you all can spread the word, because we really need our young people to make friends. Yesterday, Dr. Hegde talked about inclusion is belonging. We need somebody with whom we belong to. And this is an area which has been so neglected for people with disabilities, but everybody needs at least one friend. And we hope that Buddy Up Network gives them that friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Gopika. I was a little scared about asking about dating apps, but since she has mentioned, I'll ask that on the follow-up question. Radhika, I think from the school context, we were talking about how you think about pilot, introduce technology in a deliberate manner at Gateway School. Could you share a little bit about it and a couple of examples of what you have seen technology being used really well? Yeah.
Thank you. So a little bit about Gateway. Gateway is a not-for-profit organization. We work directly with learners with disabilities in our school, in our intervention center, and through our research and outreach, we work with the community at large. And we've explored tech in all these spaces. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that. A little bit different from this because I'm looking at it as tech in a school or educational setting. So I think at Gateway, if I had to think of how we use tech, I would say it in 3 different ways. First would be UDL. So we use and introduce all possible tech, but as choice to learners. So we'd use Kahoot, we'd use quizzes, we'd use pretty much word processors, everything, but there's an element of learner choice to build in engagement and to help them access. So that's available to everybody. Then I would say at the next level, we've got differentiation. So here what we're trying to do is then match a tech to, say, a learner profile. So I've got one of my learners, I know who understands better when somebody reads out versus reading themselves. So I'm going to encourage to use those apps. So I'm going to prompt, even though UDL allows all of those things available, I'm going to encourage to use just this. Another learner I know will struggle with demonstrating just with pen and paper, so I'm going to encourage the use of a word processor here. Now, at this level, at differentiation, this could change for different classes. This could change as the learner grows. So we've got UDL for everybody, which is choice, differentiation, which is matching. And then finally, I think how we use tech is as assistive tech. So here, what we're trying to do is build in access. For example, we've customized use, like an accessibility. We spoke about the phone and the laptop being the best accessibility devices out there. We've customized, built, activated things like sticky keys for certain learners. We've got Gateway, I'll talk a little bit about this, we make use of all the free resources because yes, it's a big concern for us, just access to tech. So we've got things like Natural Reader that are great read aloud softwares that our learners then build into their laptop and then can access different and use across different. Now the difference at this level, I think, is that this goes on the child's IEP, and then it's something that every teacher must grant and must give that child because it's their right as assistive technology for access. So I would say these are some of the broad ways that we use different types of technology, or the ways that we use technology. As to how we use technology, there's so much, it's coming out every day, something new is coming. And I think one of the things that we do then at Gateway is our teachers have autonomy and we encourage pilot, try, go dirty and quick, like just fail fast, fail quick. And we encourage people to just try in their classrooms. Then what we try and do is, and tech, as you shared, you have a freemium version for pretty much all tech. So a lot of the features of tech are available on the free versions, and I can say at Gateway, we use majority of the free versions of apps. So what our team does is they try the different apps in their classes. Then over time, if you feel that this is something that you really like, then we have spaces to share with the school. So for example, in our whole school meet, we have an agenda item that says, one new thing I tried. And there, teachers put up where they've tried a new app or a new device. And that becomes then, that starts the process of other people trying. Because you always have those people in your team that are, eager to try anything. They see that app and are looking for that, but you have the others that will stay away from it. So this becomes that way to encourage everybody to try out. And then finally, we have a structure at Gateway, which is our tech task force. And this is a voluntary, so all teachers at Gateway engage in their classrooms, but are also encouraged to do something beyond. And one of the initiatives is this. And the tech task force is responsible for understanding the landscape, identifying new things that are coming up, seeing what would work best in our context, but also then supporting teachers in classes. Because teachers, we all know, we're all teachers here, we know what our days are like. They're nuts, they're crazy, right? So then when you say something else, and if I'm tech averse, I'm not likely to try that. But when somebody comes into my classroom and said, hey, I tried it like this, I did that, then it becomes possible, it becomes feasible. So that's another way that we've tried to use tech at Gateway. But then sometimes, like you, we find that tech just doesn't exist, and then you need to create something that works for us. So that's another initiative of Gateway where we have developed India's first curriculum-based measurement app that is available now at no cost in English, Hindi and Marathi. And that's for foundational learning skills, because at Gateway what was happening, we tended to use a lot of what was available to us from the West. And you can use that, you can adapt it a little bit, but it never really serves that purpose. And you can't really use the data as well as we would have liked. And so sometimes that's what you need to do, and that's another initiative that we've done at Gateway.
Thank you so much, Radhika. I sort of remembered one small instance when I used to teach about 10 years back, and I got a chance to visit an international school. And the most simplest sort of piece of furniture, which I totally loved, were rockable stools. I don't know whether you have them at Gateway, but basically small stools on which children would sit. The base of the stool was round, and it was slightly curved. So when you sat on it, it wouldn't be stable, and you thought there is something wrong with the stool. But it was designed in that manner because then children could continuously rock in their own positions, and the nervous energy that a lot of children had would get directed towards the bottom, and the upper half of their bodies would then be focused towards instruction, towards what was happening in schools. And I was like wowed by it. That simple piece of technology that I sort of saw in that school. I think coming back to Sudha, I know when I talked to you, sort of key takeaway for me was that rigor of doing research by yourself, studying the field inside out, making that transition from theory to practice, and then enabling others to make it much more sort of faster and in a much more guided kind of manner. So could you tell us a little bit about how you made that theory to practice transition? And because a lot of, I'm guessing, audience here is also with a really strong theoretical background, any inputs that you would want to share with them?
So as long as I was doing it one-on-one, it was pretty much the same way. Hello? Yeah. As long as we were doing it, I was working with families one-on-one. It was like as usual, you know. But once the idea came that this had to go mainstream, the messaging had to go mainstream, and we had to really think hard about how do you bring it mainstream. And our biggest competitor is a lot of influencers on social media. So how do you compete with that? So we needed to, we realized that we needed to shoot something with a format to it, explain it, and obviously every ASD child is different. And we also have to explain what other, we gave a couple of lectures to attach to say what else could be possible other than what you're seeing in the video, what else could be possible. So we have tried to include that as well. But if I can just talk a little bit about how to use technology, like when you are, many of you may be getting ideas about making something in tech and making a difference, right? Because you all have something that interests you in this field. So some of the suggestions which was given to me, I did do a course in entrepreneurship to figure out what I should do right, how I should do, what are the steps. And one of the main benefits I got is the market research. I spent a good couple of months to figure out who is doing what in the industry. You have to be sure you're not replicating something which somebody is already doing. And you have to do that research. And from that understanding, I had a couple of apps which were close enough. And then I even spoke to them to figure out what their journey was. And then I made my journey. I defined, we call in entrepreneurship term, the term avatar. Who would be the end user? You have to define it very clearly. Who will be your end user? How will they use it? How will they benefit from it? Once you're clear about it, then you go about building something in tech for that, okay? It cannot be that you build something and you force it on the individual and say you use it. That usually doesn't work. You have to really do your research well. And innovation is very important, and I want to push innovation very hard into special needs because there is a lot of money coming into innovation in special needs now. We need to channelize it correctly and bring it to the people who will actually take it till the last mile. It cannot be just until the product is made. Because if you see, to make a product, it takes, say, 30% effort. There's a 70% effort in taking it to market. And you need to understand it and have the resources for it. And we are teaching something from 2022 till mid-2024. We were focusing on parents. And then we analyzed data, like you do in Goalkeep yourself, that a lot of professionals also were coming in. And then we went back and spoke to them. What is it that you are looking in the app? They said, we do not know this. And then said, okay, let us put up something which is focused more on professionals. And then there was an input coming very strong to us that this should be in Hindi. It cannot be in English. And we took it seriously. And I should thank a person called Goalkeep. She's an army officer's wife who did it pro bono for us. She worked with us for a good 8 months, day in and day out. And she did the Hindi version because I'm not good in Hindi. So we got somebody, we trained her what we are doing and the emotion that has to come into the language when you deliver. And we got it done in Hindi. So then we realized that we don't want to go for a native app. A native app is something that is built for a specific purpose and the code is written only for that. And going that is very expensive. So you don't do that. You either go for a web app or something a little more hybrid in nature. So we realized when we pilot, let's go and pilot it with something like an LMS which is already existing. Take an instance and pilot it. So you have to be very conscious of the cost because the cost of tech is quite high. Okay, they will get you in very quickly, but to stay there, it costs a lot. If I can give you a breakdown, I don't know, many may be familiar. Google app charges 10%. Apple charges 30% of the sale, unless you can prove that you're a small business and there's a lot of documentation for it. And then comes GST on it. And then comes your the card payment in it. So there are a lot of people who are going to bite into your money when you buy something in tech. These things have to be considered in your research when you build a product for tech. So this is something I would like to put it out there because I know a lot of people are already thinking and you have great ideas, but I want you to consider this journey that I've taken and learn some things from it so that when you build, you are empowered with the knowledge that you require to build something for the special needs community.
Right.
Sorry.
So thank you. Gopika, I think for you, what recommendations would you have for companies that build communications, social media apps, and dating apps on making them accessible to individuals with special needs? Yeah.
So I will share what our a consultant that we used to test accessibility. He's an amazing visually impaired young man called Yusuf, who is captain of the blind cricket team and has just literally adopted us like an angel and has decided to test our accessibility. And he told us, he said, I'm on Bumble and I'm on Hinge and Tinder. By the way, I got on all these apps much to the amusement of my children and their friends, that because I had to study them and the messages that I got are another story. But he was saying, he said, you know what? None of these apps are accessible. He said, even if I try to figure out even if I've managed to put my profile, the minute I reveal that I'm visually impaired, people will just ghost me. They'll just drop me. So that's why, again, it's one is the tech, the other is the messaging around the app. We're just we're not designing tech or creating tech which is inclusive of people with disabilities. So all these apps, yes, of course, WhatsApp, all the apps that people talked about, ChatGPT, all these apps are being used by people with disabilities and they are fantastic because I think they really, really help. But is the messaging as well, or the culture of the app or the design of the apps made for people with disabilities? Not necessarily so. So even a huge app like Bumble or Hinge, which has 23 million users, I just found out, across the world, is not accessible to people with visual impairment, which is why when we designed Buddy Up Network, we made sure that it is accessible. We have of course, you have to enable talkback accessibility feature on your phone, but then we made sure that each button on the app, we went through each button and made sure that it is, it does work with screen readers. We also used a dark mode for people with low vision. And like Sudha was saying, we had numerous focus groups with caregivers, with people working in the field, with people who with disabilities themselves, and they told us things like, I have a young friend who's on the autism spectrum, and we have a block feature, and he said, you know what, sometimes I get really angry and I block somebody, but then I feel no, I want to be friends with them again, and I was unnecessarily angry. So we enabled an unblock feature. So we are constantly developing these apps, and as anybody who's run an app or anybody who's built an app or run any kind of tech will tell you, it's never 100% perfect. And so you have to constantly go back to people, constantly get feedback from them. We've now got voice notes because, again, a lot of people with physical as well as visual impairments told us that we need voice notes. It's too difficult for us to type. So we introduced that feature. So yes, tech is very expensive, as Sudha said. And yes, we are constantly, the money is like flowing out like water from a tap. But we hope that we have created a product. And as Yusuf, who's our consultant, told us, 90% accessible here. So that's pass marks for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Gopika. Radhika, you had mentioned about coming across a lot of apps. I'm guessing a little during COVID and after that to do while doing research for Gateway School and what apps you would want to adopt there. And I think the challenge you shared was that awareness itself is sort of lacking in the sector. And you had some thoughts on how you'd want to sort of build awareness, curate apps, curate technology for the sector. You want to share a little bit about it?
Thank you. So as I said, there's just so much out there. One thing that Gateway is very conscious of is the diversity in the education space. We have visitors to Gateway that will look and say, hey, you know what, none of what you're doing can be done with us because we have different ratio of students, we have things like that. So what we're very conscious of is that we don't know, we don't know it all. What we're going to do is share with you what we have used and how we've used it. Because one of the things that I was sharing with Swapneel is that there's just so much out there, but actually many people just don't know that the free versions exist. So what we do is we share, and then what we ask to do is that, hey, you've got a different setting. Why don't you share how you've used it? So for example, we use this app Quizlet, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. It's an app to develop vocabulary. All right, now at Gateway, our kids have devices and we have a projector, and so we use it in that way at Gateway. But another school, they did not have that. So what the teacher did was, and they shared a video of this, they took their learners to the computer lab. And they had everybody sit at a computer, sometimes in pairs because they may not have had enough. And the teacher accessed the app on her phone. So that way she got around that. Now another school did something very different. They brought in families. So used the same app over WhatsApp as a way to prep learners before coming to school. So they sent out the Quizlet before to say, hey, prep your learners for these vocab words that you're going to be reading tomorrow. And then they sent it as a review. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to curate ways that are indigenous, that we are using apps, because then there's just so much more buy-in. Can I have one more caveat to that, though? Just one thing, and I'm talking from the from a teacher's perspective here. Just keep in mind, though, that technology is a tool, and it is only a tool. I think what happened to us at Gateway was always tech friendly. We always embraced technology, but in the pandemic, technology became the only way to communicate. And we spent, I want to say, good enough, 1.5 to 2 years just doing that. When we came back, we really struggled to break that mold. We thought that the only way you can communicate is through that PPT. Like, I'm in the classroom, doesn't matter, you have to see me in that PPT. And I think that is a shift that we've been very conscious of at Gateway. Of course, use technology, but be purposeful. And oftentimes, just if something else, like you spoke about something, there can be low tech thing or there can be something else, a partner work that might just substitute depending on your purpose. So I would just have you keep that in mind as you embrace and explore all the different technology.
Thank you. Thank you, Radhika. We'll maybe open up to questions, and while we get ready for that, from Sudha, I think Radhika already sort of answered it. From Sudha, Gopika, if you have one word of caution or the reverse of it in terms of adopting technology, what would that be?
At ASD Buddy, I'm going to take lead from her. We certified our first batch of professionals in NDBI recently, and we are doing the second batch of NDBI professionals coming up. But we do, how much ever we do online sessions, we strongly encourage that they come and meet us when we are viewing their assessment and at least when we are giving their certifications, so that there is that personal connect. You cannot just do something online alone. See if you can meet the person. So that is something I think.
That's a good point, yeah. Having that offline connect.
Yeah.
Gopika, any words of caution or the reverse?
I think I will flip the script a little bit. So of course there is the, when you say that you've got a friendship app and are starting to build a dating app, automatically people's defenses go up because there are horrible people out there, and especially when it comes to people who are vulnerable because of the fact that they have disabilities. But I think as parents, as educators, we tend to imprison sometimes rather than enable. And I think that what tends to happen, especially with children with disabilities, is parents are so scared of letting them out of their four walls where they are safe that they sometimes don't empower them to be able to go out and make those connections, make the friendships. So Buddy Up Network is as safe as any other social networking site. My son is on it, Monisha, my partner's son, is on it. So we've, of course, got a vested interest in them being safe. But I think what we need to do is scaffold rather than just kind of imprison them and not let them out at all. So I think I would say, instead of exercising extreme caution, just be aware and exercise moderate caution. Be alert, be aware, but don't imprison, just empower them.
Thank you, Gopika. We have about 4 minutes remaining. We could take, say, yes, Sudha.
Point. I mean, we spoke a lot about tech, but I should tell you that tech is really a boon, okay? We just need to learn how to use it, and it can make a massive difference. I have seen it.
Yeah.
There is a good friend of mine who is blind, who enrolled into a government bank for a job, and she used JAWS to do all her work, and she's married her colleague, and she recently delivered a baby boy. So she's blind from birth, and she's been my summer friend. So amazing things have happened because of tech. So let's keep it positive, and it will continue to happen.
Thank you. 3 minutes. Let's take 2 questions. Yeah. Anyone else? Questions? Yeah. Over here after. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you said that if a child is younger than 18, they're not allowed to use the app, correct? You said that if a child is younger than 18, they're not allowed to use the app, and that a responsible adult would be able to use the app on their behalf. So how do you know that it is the responsible adult using the app and not the child?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. The app is not meant for people under the age of 18. We do have a feature because we have a lot of teenagers who have their own phones and they say we want to use the app. And so we've allowed for a feature where the person who's younger than 18 can download the app on their phone, and using the same login, the caregiver can download the app on their phone. So now we encourage the parent or the caregiver and the young person who's younger than 18 to have a free and frank conversation, and for them to say, look, I'm just doing this to make sure that you're safe. And we also encourage caregivers to not interfere with the way the person is operating the app, but to just monitor. So they can see who the person is becoming friends with. They can enable notifications so that every time that the young person gets a friend request, gets a message, it shows up on their phone. They can look at the chats, but again, they should not chat on their behalf or search for friends on their child's or ward's behalf. But this is one additional feature. But yes, I mean, of course, if somebody who's younger than 18, uses the app, we don't know. Instagram is meant for people older than 13, right? But there are kids who are 7 and 8 using it. I think with technology, that's the thing, that you let it out there and then you really have not that much control, but you try and keep it as safe as you can possibly for the users.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Gopika. Yes, sir.
We are also doing a project under Ministry of Information Technology for using technology for developing teaching aids for teachers and persons with intellectual disability and autism. But we are also getting a lot of criticism from parents about screen time. They say that one of the reasons for autism, which is being talked about, rather discussed, not proven, is that too much of screen time has kind of creating autism tendencies. Now, if the same children get addicted to the screen, what happens to them? So you have any views on this?
Yeah, Sudha.
I'm aware that most of the content in tech for autism is targeted towards the child, and there's very less targeted to the parents and the professionals. One of the ways is obviously to limit it and to put a timer on the device. How we cannot take tech away. Because there's a story I told the principal of my son's school when he finished primary. In autism, in children in general, they would look at the world, and when they're reading the textbook, they will relate it to the world outside. Oh, I saw this there. I'm reading about mountain. Oh, I saw it there. No, in autism, in my son's case, I can tell you, he read mountain, and then when I showed him the mountain, he related it. Okay, it's the other way around. So you are going to need a lot of tools. So you will have to build those resources for them. But we can only limit the time and also ensure generalization by taking them to the real world outside also. It has to be a fine balance between the two. It cannot be only the screen. That will give us problems. It has to be a fine balance between the two.
Yes, thank you, Sudha. So, yeah, I think Radhika, if you want to share some bit.
Go ahead, Gopika, you want to address more of this? Mine was not related to this. I just got a message from one of my colleagues asking me to share a little bit about our app. So if I can take a minute and just say that. If you have teachers out here that are interested in data-driven decision-making for foundational literacy, please connect with us. We have a curriculum-based measurement app called Fable. We have about 8,000 teachers on it right now. It's available in Hindi, Marathi, and English. It's no cost, but we're looking for partners. Sorry for the plug, but we're looking for partners, and it's a great platform here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Radhika. I think that's it. Thank you for having me and the rest of the panelists here.